get started in just a second. I know YouTube lags a lot, so I don't want to start until I actually know that I'm live. I have my laptop here to make sure that I'm live so I can access the chat. It doesn't show that I'm live. Maybe it's just a lag. Let's see. Okay, I see it. I see it. If you are here live with me, let me know if you can see and hear me clearly. All right. So in today's video, this is going to be interesting. This is about unblocking your creative life force energy as a woman. And we're gonna go about this video. I will share some things that may be blocking your energy, your creative energy, the energy that you create with as a woman. You may have heard me speak about this life force energy on this channel before. And this is the energy that we create life with, that we birth life into this world with. And it is not something that we only use to bring life in the form of a child into the physical world, but we can also use it to birth our dream life, our dream partner, our dream career, our dream anything. This is our creative energy that we create our life with. And I noticed that there were things that were blocking this energy from naturally flowing, from naturally allowing myself to create, because I believe that we are creative beings. We were created to create, to express. And it's not that some people are creative and some aren't. We are all creative, but some of us become blocked and we feel like we cannot access our creativity when these things happen. And most of the time, it is the human getting in the way of your soul, because your soul wants to create, it wants to express. But it is oftentimes things that I'll be sharing with you today from my notes, that there's a human part of us that comes in and blocks this creativity due to fear or due to so much of the stimulation. So before I get ahead of myself, let's get started with the first point. And if you are here in the chat, feel free to chime in and share about how you unblock yourself from these things that may show up and that lead to you feeling this stagnation or feeling uncreative. So, and I also want to say, okay, actually, let's start with this point. Let's start with this point. So, I want to say that it took even a good amount of energy to bring my human here today to create. And this was because of perfectionism. So, this is the first thing, the first point. The first thing that will unblock you is the most common that will unblock you from creating is perfectionism. Believing that you have to be perfect, believing that you have to have all the answers before you start on anything, feeling like you need to be certain about every single thing and everything needs to line up and be perfect for you to show up and take action on what you want to take action on. Maybe you will get the idea and then think, oh, but everything is not really perfect, it's not really well aligned. For me today, I'll share my part is I got this huge pimple. I'm about to get my period and I got this huge pimple right here. And normally in the past, I would have been like, no, I'm not gonna go live. First of all, I would have even recorded if I even created content, but I would have never gone live before. And this is where the inner work comes in. Because if I allowed myself to not create just because of a pimple, when there are people waiting to hear what I have to say, when there are people who ask to hear this exact thing, who are praying for this exact thing and saying, how can I possibly unlock my creativity? I'm feeling so stuck. If I allowed a small pimple on my face to literally stop me from showing up, how can I possibly expect myself to keep receiving ideas? Because ideas go to the people who actually take action and follow through on them. Ideas come because they want to be expressed in the physical world, in the physical realm. And so they're not going to go to people who do not actually act out on them. So we often try to be perfect and have all the answers and have all the equipment and look perfect and do all the right things. And when the idea comes, we're like, no, I'm not ready yet. No, I can't do it. I can't. I just can't. It's not all lined up yet. I don't have all the answers yet. I didn't chat GPT everything yet. But the ideas will go to the people who show up imperfectly and choose to show up and do the thing anyways. Choose to show up doing the thing nervously. Going live is not easy for me because it is still unfamiliar to my nervous system. And what I want you to know, that if anything feels scary to the human part of you, it is only scary because you have not done it before and it is not familiar yet. And your nervous system perceives that as dangerous. It has nothing to do with how good you are. It has nothing to do with your worth. It is merely just becoming comfortable and allowing your nervous system to become comfortable with showing up and doing it scared anyways. With showing up and becoming familiar with it until it becomes it's not that big of a deal. And showing up and doing it imperfectly, knowing that you don't have all the answers, knowing that you are not perfect. First of all, we're all human. No one here is perfect. None of us are perfect, and we try to put on this facade and try to pretend that we are perfect. And creativity is, I feel like creativity doesn't like perfection. Creativity likes somewhat like chaos. It likes this, like one of my mentors calls this the part in her that comes up with all this creativity, with all these ideas. It's like she said that there is a messy genius in her head. And I love that because it really is messy. It's not this perfect thing where, okay, I have all the answers, everything is lined up, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm gonna take these exact steps. No, there's no magic in that. That is so freaking boring. There's no magic in that. And people are not even attracted to that. People are attracted to the uniqueness, the messiness. Those are the things that actually add nuance and make the creative thing interesting, the project interesting, the picture interesting, the video interesting. When you're adding that uniqueness, when you're adding that messiness, when you're adding that relatableness, versus, oh, I'm perfect, I'm a robot. Okay, what's ChatGPT for? What's AI for? Like, what? I feel like this is gonna be one of you showing up exactly as you are with all your flaws is gonna be attracting so many people to you, so much more than you showing up perfectly, because people are going to start and are already starting to crave more humanness because we are so surrounded by perfection with AI, with ChatGPT, and we want more of that humanness that allows us to be human, that gives us the permission to show up as we are without having to have all the answers, without needing to be different than how we show up. So let me see what you guys are saying. Okay. Ladies, if you're watching this video, please comment. This content is for ladies. And my dream client is to work with ladies and to share this information with women. Nothing against men, we love men, but this is my content is not going to resonate with that. And I feel like YouTube is not sending my content to the right people. So please, if you are here live or if you're watching this in the replay, interact with this video, because that is how YouTube works. That is how it profiles people based on who interacts and engages with the video. So if you find this helpful, please interact with it, because I wanted to find more women, and I wanted to find the people that actually need to hear it and need to hear this message. But going into the next point, so last thing I was saying was giving yourself permission. So one other thing that will is most likely blocking your creativity is you judging yourself for how you are showing up. You're constantly judging your flaws, you're constantly judging the things that you like, you're constantly judging the way you speak. You'll even notice this in judging how other people speak, maybe how other creators are showing up. And this blocks you from creating and from showing up authentically as you are. Because when you're constantly in this form of judging other people and judging yourself, the part of you that your inner child doesn't feel safe to express herself. She doesn't feel safe to actually say what is on her mind, to express what is on her heart, to express in a creative way, because that is being stifled through judgment. So if you notice yourself doing this, I want you to start saying, okay, if I'm judging this other person, what am I judging myself for? Am I judging myself for speaking, for how I speak, for how I show up? And can I allow myself to actually just accept this about me? Can I give myself permission to show up exactly as I am without having to change anything, without having to be perfect? Again, perfectionism coming in. And the next thing that I have is to another thing, the third thing, I'm like doing like two. The third thing that blocks your creativity, that can be blocking your creativity, is fear. Fear of the way that you are perceived, fear of failing, fear of looking imperfect, fear of exposing yourself, of people finding out something about you. And I literally used to struggle with this so much. I had so much fear about how other people perceive me. Still working through this, just gonna expose myself. And that's actually the medicine. I'm giving you every point, the thing that is blocking you, along with the medicine. The medicine to the fear of being afraid of what other people think of you is to just expose yourself. The more you actually allow yourself to sit with the discomfort of what you're afraid to find out about yourself, when you get to know yourself and you just expose yourself, that releases something in you that is like a part of you that has a hold over you. It's almost like this shame for showing up in a certain way. That when you finally expose this, whether it's to the people around you, whether it's on social media, when with someone who feels safe, I would not recommend exposing this until you actually feel safe in your body and you check in with yourself that it is okay to share these parts of yourself, because we don't want to override your body's boundaries, and then there is self-sabotage that comes in. But starting off with exposing yourself in little ways with people that you feel safe with. Because when we are afraid to show certain parts of ourselves, we're afraid of allowing ourselves to be seen, which most of us women, we have this deep desire to be seen, but we are so afraid of being seen for who we truly are. And so I want you to start allowing yourself to be seen in little ways. Because the more you allow yourself to be seen, you are showing your body that it is safe to be seen. Doing this in small doses so that you don't overwhelm the human part of you. Because the human part of you, if it feels unsafe and you're not doing this in small doses, it will step in and take over and say, okay, well, she's doing like a little too much right here. And let's bring her back to reality. We're not doing any of that. This is too much. So for me to even be sharing this type of content that I'm sharing now and to expose myself here, I needed to do it in small doses throughout with people that I feel safe with in my life throughout a good amount of time. Like this wasn't like an overnight thing. And now I'm here exposing myself a little bit by little bit. And I feel like that the more I expose myself, the freer I feel because it no longer feels like this shame that likes to hide, that likes to make me feel small and say, oh, you're the only one feeling this way. You're the only one experiencing this. When I expose it and shed light on it, that's the shadow work. When I shed light on that, it can no longer just stay in darkness and say, oh, well, okay, I'm going to just live in shame about this thing. When you expose it, you can finally actually allow yourself to move past that. That's funny. Someone said, am I witnessing Moana in real life? That is so sweet. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so moving on to the next point. So one other thing. Okay, let me see where I wanna. I feel like they all tie into each other so well. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is it kind of relates to the perfectionism of overthinking things so much and getting stuck in anxiety loops to the point where it's hard to take action, getting stuck in a loop of overthinking and trying to figure every single part or aspect of the creation process out of, okay, I'm going to say this here and then I'm going to say that here and then I'm going to do that there. No, that just becomes so overwhelming to the point where you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't want to create anymore. For me, I wrote down notes based on what I wanted to talk about in this video, based on what came through. But so much of what I'm saying now is not on the paper. There is room for creativity to flow. If I were to sit here and write out a script, which I know a lot of people on YouTube do, that is just not for me. That would cause me to just feel like that just feels so hard. I'm like, no, that is not how I'm gonna do it. That's absolutely not for me and would kill my creativity. But if that is for you and that actually ignites your creativity and it feels fun, absolutely go with that. But for me, what feels creative is sitting down and asking God, what do the ladies need to hear today? What do they need to hear today? What how can I offer value? And the ideas come through from my own experience and I just share on that. And I allow space for creativity. If I were just writing every single thing down, there is no room for creativity. And that is due to, which I'm working on also, is due to wanting to control everything. Again, going back to the fear. When we are afraid, we try to control everything. But when you try to control the creative process, it literally just becomes a chore and it loses something in the process of that. When you try to control every single aspect of it, you actually lose the creativity. So if you're finding yourself, you're like, okay, I'm blocked and I feel like I struggle with the anxiety and I struggle with what, like needing all the answers. I need to have all the answers. I need to know how to move forward. I need to have a script in front of me. Your inner work is to try as much as possible to release that control. And this is again about taming the human part of you by creating safety in your body and letting your body know that uncertainty doesn't mean that this is unsafe. And if you want to actually go deeper on this inner work, it is going to be inside my course that's linked down below. It's called Safe to Be Loved. That is what it's called, but it's really about creating safety internally in your body so that you can tame the human that is constantly sending you all these anxious thoughts, that is constantly sabotaging you, that is constantly feeling so unsafe and is causing you to respond in a way that doesn't align with your soul, with your higher purpose, with your higher mission, with what you want to create in this world. Because we need to bring both the human aspect of it and the soul, the spiritual part of it, the creation, the magic. And when we're so afraid and anxious all the time, and when we are in survival, it's hard to create because we cannot create from scarcity. Creation comes from abundance. That's actually one of my other points, is that it is very difficult to create from scarcity. I'm not saying it's impossible. We can still create because we are literally are made to create, but it is harder to create when we are in scarcity. Okay. Um. What other points? Okay, I think I'm gonna make this the last. Okay, maybe. Okay, actually, I have two more points. So, one other thing why you may be feeling blocked from creating is that you are stuck in the same routine. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You're listening to the same music. You're listening to the same podcast. You're listening to the same, you're watching the same creators on YouTube or on TikTok, whatever it is. You're stuck in some type of pattern. Your morning routine is the same. Your nighttime routine is the same. Your midday routine is the same. Like everything is just starting to blend together. And when that happens, you start to lose the creativity. So, excuse me. So, how you can actually start to combat this, not combat, but how you can actually start to unlock this is by, oh my gosh, did I lose my train of thought? Yeah, okay. This is why I have my notes. It is needed. So, how you can actually start to unlock this is through novelty, not through a bunch of dopamine hits by scrolling on social media constantly. Like when we're scrolling, it's a form of soothing the human. It's a way of trying to regulate ourselves, but it's also a way of trying to find some kind of novelty. We're like, are we going to see someone that ignites something in us that like helps us feel that spark again, that helps us feel that creativity again? And we're just scrolling. Everybody almost sounds the same. And then it's like we're looking for that outside of ourselves. And not that, okay, maybe, okay, you know what? I don't know why I said looking for outside of ourselves, because novelty can be from the inside and can be from the outside. But I think that when we get stuck in a routine, I'm pretty much a very routine person. I'm also very introverted. So I like to stay home most of the time. I like to listen to the same kinds of things, the same podcasts, the same people, the same mentors. But when I change one tiny thing, when I just listen to a new song, when I just change one tiny habit in my routine, when I do something different while I'm brushing my teeth, it doesn't even have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be expensive, but just changing one tiny thing, that oftentimes like gets me so excited again. It brings back that spark, and now I'm excited to create. I don't know what it is. I don't have an explanation, but I feel like when we get stuck in a routine, it just becomes harder to create. And when we finally do one new thing, read a new book, read a new genre, listen to a new podcast, listen to a new song, genre we don't even listen to, we have never listened to before, then we can actually, it unlocks something. It unlocks something in our creativity. And the last point that I have no idea how many points I have actually made, but we'll just go with it. So the last point that I have is okay. So when we are consuming all the time, and when we're constantly scrolling, we're constantly distracted, we're constantly, I'm embarrassed to share this, but I'm just gonna share it because I feel like I need to share it now. I came to a point where I was literally just, it was hard to be away from my phone. When I was eating, I need to watch TV. When I'm doing something, I need to be on my phone. When I'm going on a walk, I need to listen to something. When I'm in my car, I need to listen to something. It was a constant input of information, a constant stimulation for my brain. And there was no time for me to actually think for myself or receive, because when I was constantly like getting all these ideas from other people, and there's so much even conflicting information out there, I was leaving no room for me to think for myself, first of all, and second of all, there was no room for creativity to come through, because when would it even come through? How would I be able to hear it when I'm constantly bombarding myself and my brain with information, with things from TV, with podcasts, with TikTok, with YouTube? And nothing wrong with that. But when it is constant and you're not leaving room for messages to come through, for ideas to come through, then how can you expect yourself to create? That is what I was doing as well, is constantly being in the stimulation and not leaving room for the creativity, not leaving room and space for the ideas to come or to create them. And so, what I want to encourage you to do is to allow yourself to leave more time for contemplation. And this is not thinking. Contemplation is very different than thinking. Thinking is trying to figure something out, trying to think through a problem, whereas contemplation is you sit, you give yourself the space, and see what comes up. Asking yourself, I wonder what would happen if blank. Even just sitting and looking out your window, just enjoying nature, just looking at squirrels, looking at birds, going for a walk without listening to a podcast, and just literally enjoying the creation that is already there and seeing what comes through. Most of the time, my ideas come when I am on walks, when I'm not listening to anything. When I know, like, some of the most successful people in the world, they have meetings as they go for walks. They get their best ideas when they're on a walk, because you're allowing yourself to receive the information. You're not constantly just bombarding yourself with so much stimulation and distraction. And one other thing that you can do, and also I want to say with the contemplation, is if it feels like too much to start off with, let's say 15 minutes, start off as small as possible with whatever feels doable for you. Start off with 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, like, and keep going from there. It can be really hard to do it in the beginning if you're used to like being distracted all of the time, and it can get some getting used to. So start off with whatever feels comfortable for your human body at this point, and then continue to increase that. And one other thing that has been amazing for me is morning pages. So I go on and off of doing this and then not doing it, and I feel like I've noticed such a difference when I do the morning pages. And if you're not familiar with what they are, morning pages are, you can either set a timer for 25 minutes or write for 3 pages long in your journal. And what this does, it's almost like, it's not like you're thinking through what you're going to say, but it's just a stream of consciousness to clear out. And most of the time, you're clearing out all the mental clutter. And then by the end of like the third page, towards the end, it's like, oh, wow. And then like that actually like unlock something and you start to get more and more from inside of yourself that you were not even aware of. Maybe you even get an idea for a business or something in your life that you've been praying about and you get some kind of answer for that. But try this out, and you can either do, for me, I just prefer writing for 3 pages rather than the timer, because then it was like, oh, maybe I can pause, and but like just writing, don't stop writing. And if you're like, okay, but I have no idea what to say, just start out with saying, I don't know what to say, but I'm just going to keep writing in here. I have no idea why I'm doing this. And then just go from there. Trust me, it will work out. But what this does, like I said, is that it clears out all the mental clutter that is constantly just looping in anxious thoughts. And now you have the clarity to actually receive creative ideas and to act out on them. So that is everything that I have for today's video. I hope you ladies found it helpful. And if you want to do the deeper level of inner work of getting your human out of the way so you can actually create, the link to the course will be down below. It's called Safe to Be Loved. It's for relationships, it's for your business, it's for your health. It will literally help you in every area because it can be used in different areas of your life, because the inner work is the same regardless of what lens you apply that to. But anyways, that is everything that I have for you in today's video. Let me know what key insights you got from this video, what you do to unblock your creativity down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.